2 races to go in the regular season, and we have seen it all. Great racing, surprise winners, close finishes, and some controversy on top of all that. It's been a great season of racing for NASCAR. But tonight we return to the World Center of Racing, this 2.5-mile heavenly concoction of pure awe and unpredictability. And what better way to amp up that unpredictable factor to 10 than under the lights here at Daytona. 3 wide pack racing at speeds at near 190 miles an hour. What more could you want? MDK RaceDay is live from the Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida for the running of the Coke Zero Sugar 400. The weather here in Daytona Beach, Florida is beautiful. Going to be tonight in the high 70s, 25% chance of rain, 6-mile-an-hour wind northeast through the racetrack with a high percentage of humidity sitting at 85%. Welcome everyone back to an episode of MDK RaceDay. My name is Jett. Hope you're having a wonderful night for the final race of August and the penultimate race of the NASCAR Cup Series regular season of 2024. Let's not waste any time and jump into it with our news and notes. The first story revolves around Trackhouse Racing and Zane Smith. Now, at the beginning of the year, actually, it was reported that Zane Smith and Trackhouse Racing came into a contract agreement, and many saw this as a pathway for Zane Smith to eventually drive for Trackhouse as their potential third charter for 2025. He is on loan at the moment at Spire Motorsports for 2024, and many assume he will make the jump to Trackhouse next year. However, that is not the case. Announced yesterday, Trackhouse stated that they have decided to mutually part ways with Zane Smith as to what they say allows Zane Smith to have complete access immediately to sign up with any rides that are out there for 2025. Zane Smith also then put up a post on his social media telling everyone that he was disappointed by the news, but is looking forward to what the future holds for next year. And it's very it's odd for me with this type of announcement because this more than likely leads away for Shane Van Gisbergen to become the third driver at Trackhouse for 2025, more than likely taking over the 91 ride. I don't know. I'm not a fan of this move because Shane Van Gisbergen, don't get me wrong, is an incredible talent, but still needs time to develop compared to a guy like Zane Smith, who, let's be honest, the past few weeks, he has stepped up in that 71 ride, finishing in the top 20 in the last 6 races, I believe. So he has been stepping up big time in that 71 ride in recent weeks. And I just don't think this is the right decision. I mean, on one side, I get it, but at the same time, Zane Smith, I think, is an incredible talent. I think letting him go for a guy like SVG, who, yes, is a great talent, but still needs, some more experience in the Cup Series. I'm not sure how I am a fan of this move. There is going to be an announcement later today. More than likely, this will be Trackhouse announcing Shane Van Gisbergen becoming the third driver at Trackhouse full-time next year, although that's just reported, nothing confirmed as of yet. As for Zane Smith, the only ride I could see him is going back to Front Row Motorsports because at the moment, I believe Front Row has 3 charters. Ty Gillen, we know he's going to be there next year in the 38 ride. Noah Gragson, more than likely the 36 ride probably, maybe the 34 ride. But there's still one more spot open, and I won't be surprised if we see Zane Smith make the return to Front Row Motorsports next year. And the second story is a big story revolving around the 11 car of Denny Hamlin. They were penalized by NASCAR just a couple of days ago for a very interesting rules infraction. They suffered an L2 penalty, meaning that they lost 75 driver and owner points, 10 playoff points, and have been fined, I believe it was $75,000. Actually make that $100,000. Now, why did they do that? It's a very interesting rule. But according to this, I'm going to read this off here, that the 11 team was penalized for violating engine inspection requirements. Now, how they did this is that in the rulebook, it states that all race-winning engines will be long block sealed by NASCAR and must be completely inspected by NASCAR before the engine may be disassembled by the team. If the team chooses to use the long block sealed race-winning engine again before being inspected, the engine must be used in the same vehicle number the next time it is used. So basically, to kind of summarize it, if you win a race, that engine must be checked by NASCAR, must be approved by NASCAR, then you can get it back and disassemble, do what you need to do. If you don't have it checked by NASCAR and you decide to run that engine on a new vehicle, that's against the rules. You can not have it checked by NASCAR, but it must be run in the same vehicle. Apparently, according to Toyota Racing Development, this is their issue. They made a mistake. The engine was mistakenly returned back to the TRD facility instead of being given to NASCAR after the Bristol race win all the way back in March. So yeah, simply put, TRD mistakenly received the engine back from after Bristol. Instead of giving the engine to NASCAR to have them inspected, make sure everything is all good, they had to return back to their facility. They disassembled it, rebuilt it, did all that stuff, put in a new car, and broke the rules. they own up to that, which I give credit to them for, because I mean, I don't know if anyone would really do that, but giving credit to TRD for making the right decision, going to NASCAR about this problem. And I mean, simply put, NASCAR did what they had to do in giving the team an L2 penalty. Now, this is big because Denny Hamlin was in the hunt for the regular season title within 20 some odd points of the points leader, Tyler Reddick, after Michigan. However, as a result of this penalty, Denny Hamlin's basically all but eliminated from winning the regular season title. This is what the top 10 standings look like following the penalty. So Tyler Reddick, he is still the points leader, just 10 points ahead of Chase Elliott. But now Kyle Larson, he is third. He has fallen to third place, minus 32. But look at where Denny Hamlin says. He loses 2 spots, goes from 4th to 6th, minus 103. Blaney up 1 and Byron up 2. Christopher Bell loses 1 spot, minus 111. His teammate Truex Jr. minus 132. Brad Keselowski in 9th, and Ty Gibbs back in the top 10, minus 170. Here's a look at the playoff grid after Michigan. Martin Truex Jr. plus 77. He's the only driver that has at least a 1 race gap. Ty Gibbs plus 39. Chris Buescher plus 16. And Ross Chastain now just has a 1 point gap. Just 1 point ahead of Bubba Wallace. Kyle Busch minus 93, Chase Briscoe minus 115, and Todd Gilliland rounds up the top 20 minus 151. And more than likely, with the way things are looking, I mean, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain, Chris Buescher, Ty Gibbs, and Martin Truex Jr. are more than likely going to be the only drivers that can make it based off of points. Kyle Busch on back, they are going to have to win, it looks like, if they want to make it into the playoffs. And now let's get into with our starting lineup. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR and proud sponsor of the Busch Light Polo Award, given to the fastest driver at each NASCAR Cup Series event. Busch Light congratulates Michael McDowell for his 4th career pole, all taking place in 2024, his first career pole at Daytona, doing it with a speed of 183.165 miles per hour. Since 2020, Busch Light has invested more than $70 million to become one of the NASCAR Cup Series premier title sponsors. So here's a look at the starting lineup for the 2024 Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona. Starting alongside Michael McDowell is his teammate Todd Gilliland, Front Row Motorsports legit being a front row's team, although Todd Gilliland, who failed inspection twice, will lose his pit stall selection. Row 2 has Joey Logano, who has won here in Daytona previously before, the 2015 500 champion, as well as Michael McDowell, the 2021 champion, and Ryan Preece in the 41 car, trying to hopefully finish this race on all 4 wheels, not having to tumble like he had last year. Row 3 has Josh Berry in the Row 4, sitting alongside Chase Briscoe's teammate in the Mahindra Tractors Ford. Row 4 is a pair of 500 champions, the defending champion of the 500, William Byron, and the 2022 champion, Austin Cindric. And around at the top 10 is the 2021 Cup Series champion, Kyle Larson, with the 2020 champion, teammate Chase Elliott. Row 6 has Kyle Busch, still looking for his first win of 2024. He has won here at Daytona previously in 2008 in July, sitting alongside Brad Keselowski, who won here in 2016. Row 7 has the defending winner, Chris Buescher, who won here last fall, sitting alongside Ryan Blaney, who won here back in 2021. Row 8 has Noah Gragson in the 10 car, and Austin Dillon, trying to rebound from his win taken away at Richmond just a couple of weeks ago. He has won here at Daytona, not only in the 500, but also won the fall race here back in 2022. When Row 9 is Martin Truex Jr. competing in his final start as a full-time driver at Daytona, sitting alongside Bubba Wallace in the 23 car. And rounding out the top 20 is Denny Hamlin, the 3-time Daytona 500 champion, and Harrison Byrne in the 21 car. Row 11 has Alex Bowman in the 48 car with Daniel Suarez in the Coca-Cola Zero Sugar 99 Chevrolet. Row 12 has Austin Hill return to the Cup Series in the number 33 car, sitting alongside Ross Chastain in the 1 car. Row 13 has last week's winner Tyler Reddick and the 54 car of Ty Gibbs. Row 14 has Christopher Bell and Daniel Hemrick, and round at the top 30 is Parker Retzlaff with rookie Zane Smith in the 71 ride. Row 16 has John Hunter Nemechek and Shane Van Gisbergen returning to the Cup Series, driving the number 16 car. Row 17 has Cody Ware and Corey LaJoie. The 2023 500 champion Ricky Stenhouse Jr. starting alongside Justin Haley, who won here in the fall of 2021. Row 19 has Carson Hocevar and BJ McLeod, and rounding out the 40 car field is Joey Gase and Eric Jones. Now here's a look at the odds to win the Coke Zero Sugar 400. Joey Logano at the best odds at plus 1100, Denny Hamlin at plus 1200, as well as William Byron, Ryan Blaney, and Kyle Busch. Brad Keselowski at plus 1300, a pair of 1400s to Chase Elliott and Bubba Wallace, Michael McDowell at 1500, and then Ross Chastain and Kyle Larson sitting at 1600. Chris Buescher, the defending race winner, surprised to see him this far deep, 1800. Christopher Bell at 2200, as well as Alex Bowman and Tyler Reddick, as well as Martin Truex Jr., with Austin Dillon, Cindric, Ty Gibbs, and Todd Gilliland all sitting at plus 3000. So what can we expect here at Daytona? Well, it would be interesting because more than likely we're going to see what we saw last year and in this year's 500. Stage 1 is going to be all about saving fuel. So you could see some side-by-side, maybe 3 wide racing, but more than likely stage 1, I don't want to say it will be a doozer, but it'll be calm. You know, I feel like they're just going to be settling in and saving fuel. So that's what I expect for stage 1. And then typical Daytona, as we get closer and closer to the end of the race, things are going to get exciting and heat up, and we're going to see some crashes. As for drivers to watch out for, well, Ford, we know how good they are on the super speedways. I mean, this year's Daytona 500 and last year's Coke Zero 400 race, they led the most laps that manufacturer, even though Chevrolet won a race in the 500 this year. Ford will be a factor. So you look at Stewart-Haas Racing, look at Josh Berry, Chase Briscoe. For Team Penske, you gotta look at Blaney and Logano. Those two are some of the best in the super speedways, especially Blaney and Logano. They are some of the best super speedway drivers, especially in this next gen era. You gotta watch out for them. Michael McDowell, we know how good he can be on those super speedways, so you gotta watch out for him as well. The Fords are gonna be a factor. They're gonna be very interesting to see how who's gonna step up to the plate. You look at Chevrolet, obviously you gotta look at Hendrick Motorsports, Byron, who won the 500 earlier this year, Alex Bowman, who finished second, just inches from Byron, so who knows how well they will play out here tonight. But you also gotta look at the surprise drivers, you know, drivers that you may not expect to see up towards the front. You look at a guy like BJ McLeod, who ran pretty strong in the 500 back in February. Surprise drivers like that. Daniel Hemrick, Harrison Burton, Eric Jones, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. These are drivers that they have to win, desperate for a win, desperate for something to happen. And we know how wild these races can go at Daytona and Talladega, but especially Daytona. We know how wild these races can be. You have to always keep your eye out on those surprise drivers that can just spoil the party and completely flip the playoff grid. Speaking of the playoff grid, I mentioned those drivers earlier in the show. The Ty Gibbs, Truex, Chastain, Buescher, and Bubba Wallace. Those really are the only drivers that can make it on points. Kyle Busch minus 93, but with the way how that team is going, they gotta win. But those drivers specifically that are fighting for points is very critical. Truex, he's got a 1 race gap. Gibbs, he's got a little bit of a cushion. But Buescher, Chastain, and Wallace, I mean, barely anything is covering those 3 drivers. I mean, just little points, especially between Chastain and Wallace. Just 1 point between those 2 drivers. These stages are going to be absolutely critical for the 17, the 1, and the 23. And they're going to maximize. More than likely, they're going to try and find out how do we get as many stage points as possible. Some drivers are going to be racing, preparing for stage 3. But those 3 drivers especially, and I'll even throw in Chris Buescher, they're fighting for stage points. So they're the ones I feel like are going to be the most aggressive in these stages. While everyone is saving fuel, the 1, the 23, and the 17, I feel like they've got to be aggressive. Try to make the most moves, put themselves in position to earn stage points. Buescher starting in row 7, Bubba Wallace starting in row 7, Bubba Wallace starting in row 9, and Ross Chastain starting in row 12. So we're kind of pretty evenly spaced out in the mid-pack, just around mid-pack. So how those 3 drivers navigate through the race, not only within themselves, but with other drivers throughout these first 2 stages, is going to be very critical to see how they line up to prepare for that final stint in stage 3. Now, I'm not doing a fantasy live this weekend because you can't, but I am going to be picking a winner. And it's not those drivers I mentioned. I don't think it's not going to be a bubble driver. I don't think it's going to be a driver that's locked in. I'm going I'm going with Kyle Busch. Yes, I am going with Kyle Busch. Why? I don't know why, but I'm just feeling a Kyle Busch win. I'm feeling a Kyle Busch victory. You know, last year's 500, they won the Daytona 500 last year, but not the Daytona 504 or however many miles it was, but they were oh so close. And I just had this feeling that Kyle Busch, we're going to see Rowdy. We're going to see Rowdy tonight. Don't know why, but I'm feeling it. I got Kyle Busch winning this race. He's won here in the past, back in 2008. He's going to break that long 40-some-odd winless streak and go back to victory lane. But obviously, I can't really judge it based off of anything. But I'm just feeling it. This is a gut feeling. Kyle Busch is going to win it. What do you think is going to happen in this race? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. We'll be right back here Saturday night, recapping everything that took place in Daytona. Until next time, my name is Jett from MDK. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the Coke Zero Sugar 400 from Daytona.